Peace. It's Bronzebird here with another video. Before I begin, like and subscribe. Thank you. So, as you know, I've been keeping much of the tabs and trying to give you these videos every week to talk about the upcoming, more or less these upcoming technology advances, especially when it comes to our society. Yes, at typical measures, you would expect that a lot of these technology advances is for the good of society, but it also comes with a downside of the demise. Unfortunately, I would like to think that a lot of these things out here that's being put out for the public consumption is supposed to be used to good use, but it also comes with labor shortage and being able to go ahead and come up with more, how do I say it? More complex technology in order to, I guess, do more of the big brother, more surveillance on you technology. Now, today, I'm going to be talking about this new AI robot thing that they have on tab right now, which was exhibited out in September. And, more or less, it's talking about how to get more of people of color into tech. And also that I think, in my theory, that this is not only the idea that they're trying to get more of our people into tech, which I think is a good thing, but also the fact of the matter that they're going to replace teachers with these type of technology. Why do I say that? Because remember back in the day that I would specifically say probably the 90s and early 2000s, you had the VHS tapes, you had the DVD players, you had all these different things. And then, the teacher would use these like screens and boards and stuff like that in the classrooms. Even in college, they did the same thing. And they used, you would watch videos and all these different things for lessons, and you would take down the notes and stuff like that. Now, what I'm going to show you today is that you have a prototype, or you have more of these type of figures that's on your screen now today that I believe, like I said in the beginning, is going to be the new teachers of the society. They're not going to need teachers to actually teach in the classrooms. Now, we're also having to give into the fact of the matter that Karina was a game changer for bringing in these whole entire new technologies in the art form of socialization. Okay, well, you don't really want older adults to interact with children and put them at risk for Karina. So therefore, let's also use this new technology of having a teacher, and you just be a teacher's assistant in order to teach the class whatever they need to know, because this is what they do. Now, this is a thing. This is this robot named Claira, and I'm going to show you this on my screen. Another one of these prototypes that they're using for this. Now, peep this right now. This is going to just be a short video I'm going to show you guys. So just peep for a second, okay?
Girl, got a job, y'all. I'm so excited. Thank you to Trill or Not Trill for the opportunity to speak with students around the country about the possibilities and impact of AI for social good. Can't wait.
And I want you to pay attention to that, because later on I'm going to read an article that gives more into the way of what's going on in this whole entire thing and branch off, right? Um, Clara is supposed to be a so-called Afro-Latinos, half so-called Black, and also some type of Latino lineage and all this other stuff. Now, of course, there's other people out there that will usually make a big argument off of this. Your favorite liberals will. And they sit up there and say, well, it's not even a full Black woman. It has to, why she got to be Afro-Latino? And this, that, and the third. Who created this shit? Now, what I found out in my research, VO Boss or this, that, and the third, it was a Latino that came up with the concept of Clara, the AI bot and stuff like that. And also you have this whole entire robot program coming from Trill or Not Trill. Now, this is the reason I wanted to give this to your attention today. It's not because I just want to go ahead and say, oh, this is evil, because number one, I believe that more so-called Black people should get involved in tech. obviously so-called Latinos as well, because I like focusing on the so-called Black man and also, of course, the so-called Latino man. Because let's really be honest, who's mainly a majority of tech is so-called white men and so-called Asians. Now, for so-called Black people to get into the ballpark, I definitely do believe in that, and I know brothers around me that is involved in that. And I would definitely love to get more information on that, of course, to just do more of the research and understand it. But let's get into this conversation. What you have to factor in about this whole entire thing with Clara is not only the prototype of having a new teacher that does these whole entire things in the classroom, you also have to take into the fact the matter about critical race theory, that they're going to head with these programs and all these efficient things to put it in a classroom in order to talk about critical race theory, okay? To talk about the victimization of so-called Black people and say about white supremacy and all this other stuff, because you and I have an understanding, if you've been watching this channel for a while, or if you've been observing like I've been observing from a bird eyes view, that these classes don't give a damn about morality anymore. Of course, they're gonna put in all this type of LGBTQ stuff, all this stuff about the pro-Blackness, but under the minds of the whole entire thing, we as a people have to come together. Such a communist move. You understand what I'm saying? And that's why I say you're gonna expect more of these Claras to come out here that's gonna be teaching the whole entire thing of critical race theory. Okay, this is the stuff that they're gonna do. It's always the correction in the force. You understand? And a lot of people, a lot of Negroes that's not paying attention to think, oh, this is so great, critical race theory in schools and this, that, and the third. Now, function that with 2 times that with having a robot teacher that's going to replace teachers. Now, I'm going to show you an article to this. I'm going to show you the article in which you can take a look for it for yourself really quickly. Now, this is the type that they're using right here. This is Clara. This is the one they have as being the world's first AI woman of color. AI, yeah. So shout outs to Shanique Yates. This was an article back in September 13. Meet Clara, the world's first AI woman of color with the sharpest brain in the AI world. Now, this is the thing. Obviously, they programmed this to be as intelligent as possible. Again, you're dealing with AI. So my thing about it is that of course they're just going to talk about teaching tech to these underserved communities, AKA usually the so-called Black communities, which I'm not denying is a bad thing. But at the same time, the overall view in this thing that I'm trying to express to y'all today is that this is not just about teaching tech to underserved communities. This is a smokescreen in which I believe in my theory, this is going to be the direct placement for teachers in classrooms. They're going to use all these AI technology to replace teachers. So they're not going to have to do this, or they're going to have the teachers work from home, which they already started when Karina first started. That's the reason they had the whole entire in-session learnings and this, that, and the third. This is a game changer for technology to decrease socialization between the adults that teach in the classrooms and also the students. That's what I'm saying. This is the future. Clara made her debut last week, September 8th, and is the world's first artificial intelligence woman of color. She is an Afro-Latina bilingual AI known to have the sharpest brain in the AI world. Now, she's making her way into school systems nationwide. Peep that last sentence. Now, she's making her way into school systems nationwide. Now, this is a thing they could do also in this whole entire time, right? They can also go ahead and put this in the school curriculums where they allow the students to interact with Clara, and now they're going to be able to invest that money into the school system of teaching tech and all these things out here about whatever you want to call it, social security, well, cybersecurity and all these other programs, computer programming, coding, because they already started coding programs for students in a lot of these different schools. But of course, they're going to start with the vulnerable population, underserved communities. put them up on the program. Say, okay, we can give this to you and put this in the curriculum. Okay, cool, not a problem. Again, though, you think that it's just going to be that one class. It's going to be more than that one class, in my opinion. Let's continue. Claira has introduced through Trill or Not Trill, an institute founded by Lenny Williams and Jeff Dess. Now, when I did the research on them, and also before I continue, these are both brothers. These are both so-called Black men. And I definitely will give them a round of applause for going ahead, going ahead and putting themselves into tech. That's a great thing. Love seeing brothers get involved in higher positions. That's exactly where we should be as men. We should be able to move towards a better, sufficient way of getting to where we need to be and making some higher income as brothers. To provide innovative strategies and solutions that speak to the culture with leaders that are committed to enhancing the voices of today and developing the change agents of tomorrow. Now, the company will join forces with Creative Lab Ventures to continue the mission of providing underserved communities with the resources and skills needed to thrive in the media and tech industries. We are beyond excited to introduce your students to Claira. That said in a press release shared with Afrotech, this next level partnership with Create Labs offers us a game-changing way to enhance the educational experience and provide access for students of all types. Excuse me, y'all. Particularly as an AI woman of color, Claira embodies the Trill or Not Trill initiative to represent an often unseen narrative and provide the ability to reach voices often left out of particular spaces. Now, my thing about it is I could really be a dick and say, why did you try to use an Afro-Latino instead of using a full so-called Black woman or using a so-called Black man in order to give out your message? See, the thing about it in this society, I believe that they, a fellow YouTuber always usually says this, that they use the whole entire mother goddess for paralysis. They always use the mother goddess as a way of, and when I say mother goddess, it's always women that they always use. Number one, because the woman is always put on the women are always preferred when it comes to technology, speaking, and all these different things. Men aren't. Just being honest. You can view it in everyday society. And I'm going to definitely do a video on that soon come on why women are more preferred when it comes to certain things, when it comes to marketing and advertising. Women are usually preferred, men aren't. Just in my opinion, this is just all an analysis. I'm not going to even, might be anecdotal at best, but let me continue. Operating under the generative pre-trained transformer 3, GPT-3, Claira uses an auto-regressive language model in order to produce human-like text through the use of deep learning. Technology is an important facet of every part of life, particularly as it continues to evolve at lightning speed. Williams said in a statement, working with Creative Labs allows Trill or Not Trill to provide experiences that help bridge the technology opportunity gap by allowing students, particularly underrepresented students, to see themselves in the future of technology. With Claira, the aim is to inspire and uplift youth of color. To achieve that mission, there have already been talks of having Claira serve as a speaker at select university workshops. And I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. This is another picture of Claira right here. You know what I mean? Like this is another one. I don't know if it's showing up on the screen right now, but let's talk about it. I do believe that so-called Black people in particular do need to have more opportunities in involving themselves beyond just the regular old programs of going ahead and you know, we understand the school to prison pipeline. That is true. That does happen, of course, because we live in this so-called white society and this, that, and the third. A lot of people think it's white supremacy. I don't believe in white supremacy. I believe that it's just so-called white rulership. You understand? You can't get mad at those who's ruling and then just be like, oh, you know what I mean? Because when it was other nations ruling, then that, if it was today, let's just say so-called Black people was ruling, then they would say that it's Black supremacy. You understand? So with this whole entire thing of so-called white supremacy, it's just so-called white rulership. And it's another YouTuber that always says this. This is why I don't. This is why I give credit to where it's due. But the thing about it is, even I notice it, of course, and I've noticed it for years before I came into this acknowledgement of what's going on in society. But getting back to my point, I do believe that we need another way of not doing the same old stuff. So-called black people, so-called black women and so-called black men definitely have the opportunity of not doing the same old shit that they have to do, like playing football, basketball, rapping, and singing and all this other stuff. I mean, yes, the art form is great, or being involved in athletics is great, but who's to sit up there and say that so-called black people don't have more options to be great and successful in this society? To do a changer from what's the everyday politics in the neighborhood or in the hood, because so-called black people don't even notice there's more upscale so-called black towns where you can move to when you have a certain bracket of income. But to my point, it's like my honest opinion. I'm on the fence with this, where I'm like, okay, I do see the great in it, and I'm not mad at Trill or Not Trill or Creative Labs for having this, right? But of course, this also feeds into or could feed into the critical race theory narrative that they want to push in these schools. Of course, trying to find a way of going ahead and shaming the so-called patriarchy, which is more of saying shaming the so-called white rulership because their time is ending, and being able to go ahead and say, you people are bad because of such and such and such and such. The availability of having a Claira probably teaching about slavery and talking about African ancestry and all these different things in schools. Okay? There's both sides to this coin. I'm not saying that it's wrong or it's right. I just want you to pay attention to exactly what's going to be implemented to your children in the future generations. That this is a big possibility that women, AI women like Claira, is going to replace teachers that's in your school. So the salary for a teacher is probably going to be abysmal in the next 5 to 10 years if you're not really paying attention. But that's just my opinion on it. Let me know exactly how you feel in the comments. Peace.